That's very true.
This is I don't want to say it's totally free to say whatever you like on the microphone. There are limits.
Let's be honest, Des, you've pushed those limits far more than I have.
And if I push them,
yes.
Fabian has walked up with a pair of scissors and just cut the ribbon on that border fence and be like, I'm walking through. And Hap, actually.
Yeah.
Screw that guy. He's in the mix as well.
Yeah, he's the quiet one.
Well, looking at this map, it's an interesting history over the last few months of both teams. MNM currently 4-4 on this map. I was looking at their site statistics as well just before the game, and they are currently 50% win rate on the defense up on the top floor. Down in the basement, they had a real tough time with that bottom floor at SI. We remember casting a couple of games just like, boys, what's going wrong? But yet they still find themselves with about a 65% win rate down in the basement. So a good sort of leaning towards what you're hoping might be a 4-2/3-3 split, the sort of thing that Fabian was talking about. And Pones, we can't talk too much about them because it is a new roster. But as an organisation, they do have a 3-1 record on this map in recent history. Bans are flying through though, and MNM coming out with a couple of spicy bans. Taking away the Ying, an operator that we know has become very powerful lately, keeps on forcing out Warden picks by defenders. And BDS popularised this earlier on last year, especially during the utility meta. It was kind of like that's a way to really spice things up. It's kind of like a relic of a bygone era, but still incredibly impactful because we are now in that sort of frag grenade era where you just see frags being brought along on, if not 2, often 3 members of the attacking team.
Going to be heading right into the thick of it now as we've got Pawns versus MNM about to get underway on Oregon. Pawns are going to start us off on the defence, and they will be trying to hold on to what was a difficult MNM attack to put a leash on for BDS. So it's going to be important for them to have a clean start here. They're going to be up on the top floor. Pawns going to be looking to lock down domes.
Alrighty. Normally you go into basement as the starting point, purely because no soft destruction up on that ceiling means it's very easy really to know where the attackers are coming from. The number of times that we've expressed frustration with teams that will try and make a freezer and laundry push work, yet it feels like you're just running your head through a brick wall and not really getting anything out of it except brain damage. It's just one of those that you look at and think, okay, maybe downstairs is the place to go for the defenders, but yep, Pone's going on to the upstairs. And you see this in the 2 Russian teams that we've got as well. You got Scyther here bringing along the Maestro. We don't see too many teams running that these days, but you do get the occasional player, especially on outsiders and Pones, that do like running this operator.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very useful. You've got a couple of Evil Eyes. After the nerf, that wasn't a recent nerf anymore, I will just refer to it now as the nerf to the Evil Eyes, where there was a number of things happened at the same time. Particularly the glass can be broken, makes them easier to deal with. Twitch drones can deal with them easier. It's, you know, there's a number of options now that make those Evil Eyes reasonably easy to remove. Couple that with the amount of nades that we've already commented on that get brought along. You know, as that increases more and more, it's easier to get rid of them. So he's fallen out of favour a little bit, but still has the impact nades. He's always going to be played in the same position on this site, and that's where Scyther is right now. He's looking for the impact trick onto that Domes wall. They want to keep it locked, keep it shut down, but Nello pushing in from Attic as well makes life a lot more difficult.
I remember this MNM side attacks on this map so vividly from back at SI as well, that you'd always see the troublesome twosome of Tyrant and users pushing in from the west side, and they have this split elsewhere around the map, and they haven't changed away from that strategy. You've still got Solotov, and I believe it's Neo pushing on the south side, and Nello doing the solo work on the top side. But it's those two out towards the west side that you've got to be worried about as users who's going to find Exodus.
Good start for MNM, getting locked down into a man advantage now. Just clearing away a little bit of utility, potential opportunity to get the wall open, but Scyther is still sat on top of it. But Neo might just play a little bit of a game here. Yep, absolutely will do. And that is 2 pellets, 4 pellets total. Will get rid of both impact nades, and now the wall is free to be open. Easily dealt with because the Hibana was brought along. Could well have been on the back of that Maestro pick. So we're going to be 5 versus 4. Wall open. Scyther pushed away into pit. Pressure still coming from Attic for MNM, and this is looking pretty good for them so far.
They just want to get Scyther out of this spot then, because you've got the full control of the east side of the map then, but with this man still sat here, you're in a bit of a spot of bother. If they can get the swing in, they can do a lot of work. They know that he's sat inside of here as well, which is why the pressure's starting to build. The drone coming down towards the left side gets zapped out as it's Nello lying down outside the window. window, and one more pushing in through Trophy. They could go for a swing here, but present such a big risk because of the Trophy doorway and defensive members that might be sat just inside of it, looking to provide a bit of cover. So MNM stalling out a little bit here, and they've got to pull that trigger soon. It comes in the form of Tyrant, who gets Andreezy. Traded back outside, the finds one before the trade comes in from Solotov. Good trade play for both sides, but it's MNM in the 3 versus 2.
Flurry of kills in the mid-round there. We're going to see Emission go down, but Users, he's only a breath away from death as they find themselves effectively 1 versus 3, but it's going to very quickly be a 1v2 if WTG finds his shot, and that he will. Diffuser is going down, so that's going to be successful here, but the shotgun doing the work! He's done it! WTG effectively in a 1 versus 3 to open us up in the first round, and MNM are going to be absolutely kicking themselves there, just feeding themselves into the meat grinder that was WTG with the shotty.
Again, I was just so surprised that he stepped his way inside the pit, had 3 smokes in back pocket, knew because there was a yellow ping that the man was planting inside the game and doesn't smoke him out to try and make him run. I don't know if he was nervous about the potential for a swing to come in and just a bit of blind spray in towards where he was, and the smoke would have given him away, because you did see the second kill that he got there was actually looking inside a Kids, not expecting him to have rotated through in towards pit. Really well played by WTG there. MNM just falling apart at the dying moments, and Pone's probably going to feel like they're stolen away around there.
Absolutely, that should have really been an MNM round. There was, like I say, with the mission down, it was effectively 3v1. Users slow health, fair enough, but other than that, you know, this was always, as soon as he switches to the shot, Users has got 1 health.
Know.
He could have shot him, honestly, he could have shot him from border, and he'd have still downed him with that shotgun. That's not a major problem, but now in the 2v1, this cover's got to be better. And for me, the problem that you've got there is Solotov has been told he knows where WTG is. He knows where he is because Users has been killed from the rotate. So they know that he's in the rotate. Solotov does nothing to lengthen that angle. He knows he's coming at him with a shotty, and he still gives him that 10-foot challenge. You know, get yourself back. You know that there's only 2 points that he can realistically push from. I think he was concerned possibly about pit wall to Trophy. Maybe an angle through there. He's concerned about that getting picked up, but still, do whatever you can to create a little bit more distance there, and maybe he gets away and wins that fight, gives himself a little bit of an advantage. But it all ifs, buts and maybes, because the Zafir did not do that. WTG able to take full advantage, get the kill, and this time we see them going down to bottom floor. Tyrant gonna take a lot of damage early on.
You saw my entire point about that last round, Tim. Absolutely, just small little moments of decisions being made there. Hindsight's 2020, of course, and we can sit here and go, well, he did this wrong, and it's like, yeah, great, you try being under pressure and trying to make this happen. Tyrant, as you say, there was kind of being tagged up on his push down through shower. They pulled out one of the nano boost charges about 20 seconds into the round because Tyrant was nano bots, sorry, different game there I'm thinking of. Tyrant was pushing his way up, and I think it was Solotov who got chipped off trying to get on the rappel up in towards Master. So that was to get him back up. Then Tyrant ran face first into a gunfight and nearly lost his life. We're about 60 seconds in. They've gone through all 3 charges here already because Tyrant's trying to juice himself back up. That resistance on that west side of the map has slowed down the advance.
A lot of time being taken up by Emission, as you say, just really slowing MNM down there. He's now going to get the nitro underneath as well, see if he can catch a man as Solotov moves across. He's so close, but he's not going to pull the trigger. Just a little bit too late from Emission, but still good time wasting here. Nello's going to take a chunk of damage as well. Emission all the way back down to Sightley's 5, locking it down at the halfway mark. That is well played from Paul.
I love this, Tim. Absolutely love it.
Really well played.
You very rarely see teams actually roam on this site. They'll just kind of group up, and it's on the attackers to sort of fence them in and just slowly try and compress them further in towards supply. And when they're all gathered together, that's when you try and make your play happen. But by roaming up on this top floor, they've gone through, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so. MNM now have got to start getting themselves awareness of what's going on site itself against a Mute and a Mozzie, and deal with mirrors and get yourself set up for the execute. That's too much to do inside 60 seconds, Tim. They're going to struggle.
They really are. Like
and
you
look
say,
at Exodus, he's still waiting.
MNM are going to have to show us exactly why they won so many attacks against PDS, and at this rate it's not looking likely. Neo, he's doing some work on the freezer side. Keep an eye on him. He's got the diffuser in hand. That's where the plant is ultimately going to come from. Andreezy just managing to get away from that. It was like water, just managing to seep into the cracks of that wall to get away from the grenade that tumbled in and keep himself alive, challenging onto Nello. Exodus opens us up with one onto Tyrant Cider. He just piles on and finds one onto Solotov, and this is falling apart quickly for MNM, but they managed to get a grasp. Users, Nello doing everything they can. 2v2, this is coming down to the wire. 10 seconds left to go. Exodus and WTG managed to close it out. Oh, we might just be on for an exciting game between these two.
It's come down to 2 big 3Ks in both rounds so far. WTG in round 1, Exodus in that round. But truthfully, that second round, it didn't come down to just picking up 3 kills on one man. He was roaming upstairs, let's not forget, inside of green as well. So he's ran his way across the entirety of that first floor and hit them on the backside as well. Big work being done. But that roam, again, I said it in the round, not a lot of teams employ that sort of thing, Tim. And when we first came to Oregon, when it first got reworked, we thought, okay, are we going to see an SSG-esque roam here where you kind of lock down meeting, you use it to fall back down to site and defend it that way once you lose control? A couple of teams tried it, but it didn't really stick. But Pones have just made that work beautifully and made it look relatively easy on the way through. So far, looking very, very confident on the defensive side.
Well, EUL just continues, doesn't it? It's been, quite frankly, utterly unpredictable so far. And that's a problem for me and for others around me that have to predict this as part of our living.
You're telling me, Tim?
It's a little...
I'm bottom of both leagues at the minute.
It's been ridiculously difficult to predict, and it continues to be so. Pawns coming out here really strong. 2 good defences to start things off, and they are looking for a clean sweep here as they head down to meeting and kitchen.
Now, Tim, we've seen some really cheeky attacks at this site over in APAC North that utilise an Ossa by a man that goes by the name of Aniton in Cyclops, if you remember, often opening upside that stage wall, getting a couple of shields down, one elevated halfway up into the top tier of the big tower, gives you a wonderful angle into the back of the site down towards Split, and no one can snake and play in front of the stage. Then you use one to get inside of the site itself, plant it down, and plant in behind that, because unless there's impacts on the other side, they can't stop you. And Tim, what are we lacking on the side of Pones?
We are lacking impacts, Des.
Yes, we are. We've got 2 C4s. They can be used, but teams tend to use those a little more aggressively a little bit earlier on rather than for plant denial. So, Pone's going to have to get creative on their defence here.
Tyrant's got himself established very quickly down in the basement. He's going to be holding angles onto Freezer to prevent any rotate around that area. Scyther just working inside a sight on the fade. No surprise, Andreezy trying to get aggressive, but Nello, he's going to shut him down. That decisiveness did not pay for Pawns there. MNM getting themselves the advantage as they did in the first round, but the question now is, can they manage to get the round done like they did in the first round?
Is the electrical upstairs?
Definitely upstairs at this point.
I mean, they keep trying, and they simply ain't finding. So, yep. Oh, no. Scyther as well. Where was he? Licked himself one there. Neo gets it back, so it's far from the end of the world. In fact, it's through the angle, so from the bench, up through the hole at the top of the wall, up on towards that top tier of top stairs. They were just so focused on what was going on upstairs rather than what was going on inside of the site and pay the price. Exodus nicking another. MNM just making small missteps here and paying the price. You look back at the start of the round and think maybe Andreezy should have got the opener when he swung in towards Neo, I think it was, on the Maverick. No, not Neo, sorry. It was Solotov on the Maverick trying to step his way through. Just little moments like that. This round could have already been done and dusted, but somehow it's still 3v3.
MNM have been absolutely baffled by this electrical. I think that's the only way that I can put it.
It's only the one side.
It looks like there's been 2 applied to it. We're not 100% sure where. We'll try and spot them out next time they go on, because it's just taken them 2 minutes 15 to get that wall open. They've lost lives doing it, and they find themselves now in a 3v3. It's going to be the last 35 seconds as they try to get the push in, but because of the time that's been wasted by the Kaid and the electricals, you're now looking at 30 seconds trying to push in through smokes, and emissions bullets as he manages to find a headshot onto Tyrant. 3v2 now.
They've got to burn through those smokes, and there's still one more left in back pocket. And with only 2 members now, they are at risk of being flanked up green stairs. Nello finding another, doing it all himself. Neo with diffuser in hand, punching out the shield as well, so they can't see through it, but he's got to step forward. Nello finding a massive 3K. That might just be what they need to win the round. Make it a 4! Step up and take a bow, son. Massive round from Nello.
And not before MNM needed it. That was starting to get away from them, not just in the round, but in the game. That was going to be a 3-0 clean sweep on defence for Pawns there. They were going to rinse and repeat, and that was down to the wire. Sometimes you need those moments. You don't get through the wall as quickly as you want. You need someone to find 4K, and that's going to be Nello. He's done a great job for his team there, leading by example, and that puts MNM on the board. And 1-2 right now for MNM is actually not looking terrible considering how this has gone, because Pawns have been dominant so far.
It's the manner that makes me nervous. If teams are like outright stomping you strategically and in gunfights, it's all well and good. but Nello's had to get a 4K from the meeting wall there. He's done it basically all by himself. You know, Pones acknowledging, okay, our 2 C4 players have died. We need to get aggressive here, because if we give them time and space, once these smokes start expiring, we're in trouble. That plant will be down, we're forced into a retake, and that is not a spot that we want to be in. So they made the right call, just simply weren't sharp enough to bring down Nello in the round. But now we've had a 3K in round 1 from WTG, a 3K in round 2 from Exodus, a 4K from Nello. It's just one of those hero play games, Tim.
Certainly looking that way, and to be honest, I'm all for it. It's nice and exciting when we get those big moments.
Oh, you love it when people go huge,
yeah. Let's have a few more of them. We're going to be heading into round number 4. Pawns find themselves with a 2-1 lead. Could well feel hard done to that's not 3-0 after that last round, and they're going to be heading back to their original site up on the top floor of dorms, and we're going to be heading towards that suggested 4-2 defensive split that Fabian talked about, and that's going to be Pawns, I think, pretty happy with the first half, considering how MNM played against BDS on here.
Absolutely. Well, Mission just lurking around here in the basement, skulking around, waiting for someone to come looking through the wrong way. Pick up a drone or two, maybe on his way back up. Not forgetting that in round 2, Exodus was the deciding factor for the side of Pones. A massive flank coming up from the top of green all the way down towards Laundry and getting himself a 3K in the process. Emission could have that same impact. Nello, the one upstairs by himself, and they will know from last round that Nello was solo pushing this spot. They had 2 coming in through Master and 2 coming in from Shower's side. MNM's attacks are very choreographed, I feel quite predictable. That is what they're now trying to take advantage of.
Solotov's just got the angle through into pit, but he's going to dip away from it. Sider played there last time around. This time he's on the Kaid rather than the Maestro, and they did lose a couple of bodies trying to deal with him. The problem is, the reason you've got to deal with Sider there, with that wall half open, he at any point could have a swing around there. He could just literally have a look, and if you're focused in from trophy towards games, if you're looking in through the breach, you're going to get absolutely deleted by Sider. So they need to make sure that they're dealing with him, potentially open that wall up a little bit more, just do anything they can to try and sort of dislodge him.
Several members do keep on checking the bulletproof, by the way, and just seeing when Nello's starting on that wall. Because as soon as he does, that will be the go sign for Mission, I imagine, to start making his move. He's gone even before that. Look at this. Got himself up. In fact, no, they saw the bottom of the wall coming out. So, yep, used that as the trigger. Said that is the time to react. Again, identifying the weakness here in that Nello was alone inside Big Tower and removing one of those key angles of threat. Because now Sider sat inside a pit is much more comfortable. He gets a kill onto Solotov. In fact, it turns into a little bit of a delayed trade. But either way, gets his man. That means this east side is very, very light on the ground right now. So MNM have got to find something special in a 4 versus 3.
Certainly do, and they've got 40 seconds left to find it, and really they need to get in and start aggressing into site. There's actually players underneath here as well. We're going to see WTG take out users after he's been down from the back of Dorms. Tyrant manages to get one though and finds himself inside a site, challenging on the man that he knows is inside of Dorms. It's WTG, but Top White shuts him down. That's going to be Andreezy, the man that I mentioned, underneath, and he's going to find himself a double. They never really dealt with Andreezy on the underneath. He was on the mute playing down there, Nitro in hand, waiting for his opportunity, and that opportunity presented itself in the form of a flank. Straight up White stairs, kiss, kiss, bang, bang. That's round 4 done.
Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, Tim.
Indeed. I like that one.
Where'd you pull that from?
I'm sure I've used that before.
Yeah, I've heard it somewhere before
You've
as
maybe
well.
not enjoyed it as much before.
Got a weird case of... Nah, I'm just more in tune. Because I wasn't here on Thursday, was I? So I'm more like zoned in now on all the things that you're saying.
Hyper-focused.
Yeah. I was telling my partner the other day when you said cool down.
Oh, you know what they say, breaks as good as a rest.
When you said cool down a few weeks ago.
When I said cool down.
When you said cool down.
Cool down.
Definitely said cool down. Well, let's kill down and get into round 5 then. That last round again for me, MNM were a bit readable. Pones with a beautiful read on how they attack that side as well. That flank on Tonello just removed so much pressure onto Sider because he had to worry about a drone start coming in from attic side like, oh God, okay, when are they going to push me? He smashed the window open. When's he going to vault in and just try and swing me? His sole focus could be towards trophy, and Solotov did well to get the 1-for-1 with him, I think, overall. But by that point, you're already staring down a 4 versus 3. The clock's running away from you, and the rest of your team are kind of then left pushing solo angles where Tyrant, for example, is on satellite window. I think you had one pushing in through master bedroom, one coming up towards white. You just scattered at that point. So a little bit too much for MNM to do there, but Pones, it was a beautiful read that gave them such a huge advantage.
It's going to be that basement again for MNM and Pones. They are out on the roam. MNM need to deal with this better and quicker, more efficiently than they did last time because a lack of time really hurt them. Users, Neo, they've got the drones raining in. Tyrant is going in with information. He's got the Jackal. He's got a one-tap onto Andreezy. That is a good night if ever I saw one.
Beautiful, because that's normally not what you'd see a Jackal doing, being the one going in hyper-aggressive on the entry. You wait for him to use that utility, but no, goes ridiculously aggressive, gets his man, and opens up this map massively for the side of MNM. Now, of course, they had to deal with the man who was hanging upstairs last time around. It's a similar story here. Exodus covering off his drop, so it is an awful lot like the SSG roam that we're used to seeing. Down comes the drop, and he should be able to get out safely here in towards meeting and back down towards site. More wonderful play coming out from Pones.
Yeah, it's very good, but MNM have done a better job this time, I would say, forcing them back quicker and finding a kill in the meantime as well. Now, Pawns are limited into that meeting control that they've got. The drop comes in, and that is going to see them almost completely fallen back to site now. Emission's going to hold on just for anybody who pushes through Kitchen. He's looking to have that shot on the fadeaway as he just drops whilst taking a couple of pot shots. The drone comes in, feeds the information that he's there, and that's rich enough for him at this point. He's going to get himself back downstairs, but interestingly now, they think meeting is clear, and Exodus, he's headed back up.
He did this in the last round when he was sat at the top of green. This was barricaded off. If he gets droned out, I think he just did then a second ago, so he'll slip back away. But because there's no pressure on Big Tower side, he can do this. He can step up and do whatever he likes, realistically, and MNM don't know what's going on yet. If they get flanked again, he gets another big 3K, you'll be kicking yourself if MNM, because it shows that you're not learning and adapting to what problems Pawns are presenting to you.
Absolutely. We're going to have Neo just moving through, taking down the hatches. That one's already open, Neo. Don't worry about that.
So is the meeting one, don't worry.
Sledge took care of it. And as you say, meeting was opened by the defenders themselves. So now MNM pretty much should have the access that they require, and they're going to look to start aggressing in through Freezer. Got smoke canisters just pouring out for the time being, just to try and slow that push down. Solitov looking to clear utility as well. Now, O's going to take a chunk of damage somewhere, and with 25 seconds left to go, MNM, they start to move. It's looking good for them. Nello manages to find a mission. Sider able to trade that one out, but it's 3 versus 4. Freezer heavy. That's got to be WTG with the shotgun again. He's got 2. He can't get another. And there's going to be an opportunity to pick at least one of these operators up, but time runs out. And WTG gets his 2 kills, and Pawns, they close out another successful laundry defence, and that one was a little more wild than the last one.
3 smokes. So it's really good work by Pawns to delay MNM, to slow them down, but it does come back to a point that we raised about MNM back at SI. Is at the mid-round, sometimes it can feel a little bit, air quotes, dead for them. They don't get much done. It feels like nothing's really moving, and when they do start moving, well, you're still up against a whole ton of utility. So maybe more pressure around the 1 minute 30 second mark might not be a bad shout, just to force a few of these smoke canisters out.
I feel like
wish he got this third, by the way. I really do.
If he takes the last man down, then it really is just a ridiculous defence, but WTG still doing his job as much as necessary to close that one out. I feel like somewhere BDS are screaming at Pawns now to be careful, because we've had the MNM tactical timeout. That was the one that we saw against BDS. They had that tactical timeout. They went 7 rounds in a row on this map without losing one. So MNM, can you do it again?
Sorry, I had to tell the Observer because asked me a question. The Electroclaws on the downstairs, Tim. It's in the basement this time, looking upwards. So, if they don't get this right again, I don't know. Because the sheer fact the upstairs has been reinforced might make them think, okay, actually, no, it is on the upstairs, although you'd expecting all 4 walls to be electrified in that case. Is he not going to look up? Oh, no, I don't think he's going to look up. He's not going to see it. Did he see it on the way through? Hopefully, if Tyrant sees it now, that's what they want.
This is it. We just need to... I'm sure that we'll follow Tyrant on his way in and see if he manages to pick up that Electroclaw. The droning continues. He's far more interested in people than he is Electroclaws. He wants to make sure there's no operators down here. He's checking the hidey holes, making sure that there's nobody going to be challenging him. But no, I don't think once again that they're aware, are they? He's looking around. He's having a little bit of a vertical look there.
He didn't see it again.
They've got the Maverick this time, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. Neo's going to do some work above. They could do the same down below as well to try and clear out the wall into stage, but this ain't going to be easy if they don't get these Electroclaws cleared off.
You can't map the whole thing really in the downstairs. Now, they just want the control of the upstairs here because they're convinced that this is where the Electroclaw is, but it's not there. It's nowhere to be seen. Emission looking for one, but can't quite find the man. They're just holding each other ever so narrowly. Going to start his way on this wall here. Maybe he can get the whole thing because he didn't go for a full opening up on that upstairs wall. It's okay. He will be able to get it, but That's one of those that you look at and just think, boys, you've got a thermite for this exact reason, but you can't use him because, again, 90 seconds of the round have gone, just trying to figure out how they get rid of this electrification. It's madness.
This is it, and seconds tick by quickly in Siege. You know, we've got to remember that it's so easy for us when we've seen the electrical be placed. It can be difficult when you can't find it, and you've got to think above, you've got to think below, you've got to think, you know, where could this be placed, and it just looks like it's eluding MNM a little bit. We're going to see the work done, though.
They haven't got the full thing.
We're going to see the work done, though. We're going to see the work done, though. Any second now, Des.
Oh, they didn't get all of the underside of it. I think it's just the one side they got. And the thing is that being so exposed now, he's putting himself at massive risk trying to step across like that. And he's out of gas! He's out of gas!
It's all going wrong for MNM. 45 seconds left to go. Bulletproof cameras are being watched, information fed in, and pawns are looking good right now.
Oh, MNM, it's going as wrong as it could in a silver rank stack. It's looking painful because now they've got to deal with the smokes that now start ringing at the 35-second mark. Solotov gets one. So far from the end of the world, you've got the entry kill. But what can you do with it? Because you've only got 30 seconds left, Tim.
That's the big problem now. It's about getting into sight, getting into a position to put it down. This is a very late rotation. 20 seconds left to go. They're going to have to find kills. They're going to have to find them quickly. Definitely going to get swung on as Amision finds his man. Easy as that around the corner, 4v4, and he can continue watching the kitchen door from green, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Sider gets one, and they're just going into a meat grinder now, Des. There's absolutely nothing they can do. They challenge on the verticals. It doesn't matter because Pawns are able to hold on, and they're able to get that 5-1, and Maverick couldn't get the wall.
I tell you what, that might just be one of my favourite rounds of Siege that you'll ever see, because it shows the true beauty in this game. That it's not just an FPS game, that it can come down to just completely big braining the crap out of your opposition. No idea where the Electric Claw was, running out of gas on the wall because they didn't have the full connection for the angle. Just everything that could have gone wrong for MNM, or anything they could have missed, was missed. They'll look back at the VOD later and be kicking themselves about that.
Especially with the drone going in underneath.
Oh, the thing is, it was on Tyrant's screen. It was only at the very top when he ran through. It could have been his perspective or anything, I don't know. But it was there. We saw it on our screen, but he just didn't clock it as he ran underneath. And sadly, 90 seconds wasted just trying to get control of the top floor. You know, it's one of those, again, that you'll look back at and really be ruined. Anyway, MNM go on the defense. Surely it can only look up from here. Surely.
You say that now, Des. You say that now.
I love EUL. It is so wild.
It's just a roll of the dice at the minute. Every single game that we come into is just an absolute nightmare. That doesn't bode well for MNM moving on to attack, because a team that's obviously communicating so well, that each knows their part and is working very well around each other, is usually going to excel on attack, because they're going to find the answers. They're going to work with each other. It's a little puzzle for them to solve each time, and you just feel right now like Pawns are going to have all the answers.
Well, hopefully that brief free host coming in. As you can see, all the scores are reset on either side of the leaderboards. Hopefully, a little bit of a chat for MNM gives them more time to get themselves reset here. Saying, come on, boys, park that first half. You know, we've been slapped about on attack. It is what it is. Let's do our thing on the defensive side. They start things off down in supply and laundry. We've got that mirror coming along in exactly the same way that we saw coming out of Pwn. So, operator lineup-wise, it's basically a match for match, Tim.
Let's see if MNM can be as successful. There was a couple of good defences from Pawns. They got lucky once or twice with sort of nades that came in, and they just managed to create enough space so that they didn't get completely taken down by them. But there is a lot of work that needs to be done here for MNM, particularly out on the roam, and that's going to be up to Tyrant. He's on the Malusit at the minute over on the west side. We'll see if the push comes in through the small tower or not. I think at the minute, Sider and Pawns are looking to just go a little bit more route one, just get themselves straight into Master. No, Exodus, he's there in dining, and he's looking for that clearance. Yeah, he's doing a classic Tyrant push in a way. You know, Tyrant's the one who normally comes swinging in from the shower corridor, not to challenge the man who's hanging outside of security. The roles essentially have been flipped here, but Exodus is just bylining it and saying, you know what, forget about trying to push security. Don't care about it right now. We're going to go for a north side push. So what I'm interested in is up towards green and getting control of attic area. So once they've established control there, maybe you will see a push coming in more towards the construction side of things. For now, at least no one's there, but Exodus is working his way up. He's got a nade in hand, a good back away from Neo, else he could have been saying bye-bye to this round. Exodus really worried me then with how far he was walking with that nade in his hand. I was like, you can't keep hold of that one forever. Risky, man. But he lets go of it, and Neo, he's going to just see it sail in front of him, not do too much damage. MNM dug in now. Tyrant back on site, and they are ready to try and hold this down. But look at the clock by comparison. When Pawns were getting to that point, when MNM were ready to start pushing towards site, it was maybe 1 minute 15 on the clock. They've got an extra 30 to 40 seconds here of Pawns.
I was really confused as to why they brought the thermite for this site when Habana is always the go-to, and the only reason I can think of is the smokes. They really want these smokes for the execute because the Ying has been banned away. They'd have played it otherwise. It's why M&M are taking it off the wall. It's been taken off the board, sorry. So the only other real alternative is playing behind the thermite instead.
WTG has opened up a couple of hatches and then he's going to rotate himself down. Don't get excited about him doing anything like opening the electrical wall. That's not going to be his job because he doesn't have any exothermic charges left. What he is there to do is apply a little bit of pressure from the bunker side, potentially to Shaiko's spot. There's nobody playing in there, or potentially down towards elbow. We've got Neo who's going to be holding on from pillars for the time being, and Solotov inside of elbow. So those two players need moving if the attack are to get anything going, but a mission, no, he manages to dump a nade in on top of Andrizi, and it's all going wrong as Neo makes the challenge into electrical. Tyrant and Users, however, are the ones that find the kills, and they just haven't really dislodged pillars in any way, shape or form before trying this push, and a mission does eventually get it done, but not before the damage is already in place. WTG can't move to elbow. Pawns just haven't really dealt with anything inside of that defence.
Nah, near flawless round coming out. They were really putting a Hail Mary onto getting control of E-Box, but once you've had one of your nades stop short and not hit the man, Neo on pillow, to burn through ADSs, that's already one thing working against you. To then bounce it inside E-Box and kill your first man that's going for the drop, who wants to take the first gunfight, is another massive tragedy. They basically double, if not triple down on their losses early on into that attack because they just lost so much from it. You know, Neo whiffed a couple of shots as well. It could have really gone their way if not for that friendly nade. So a small mess up coming out from Pawns gives MNM a little bit of respite, but you do get the big cleanup on kills at the end from the front three on the side of MNM.
Well, that's it. You know, Neo should be his last couple of seconds.
Freebie,
as soon as that drop comes in, you charge straight out of there and get that kill. But the problem for Andrizi was, you saw, as the nade came in, he had to halt. He just had to squeeze himself into the corner and try and survive, and he didn't. And Neo did, and that was the round from there pretty much. Now then, we're going to be heading into round number 8. Pawns yet to find their first attack. They've only had one crack at the whip, so we will, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They've got a little bit of work to do because they looked a little bit disjointed. We had a team kill. There was a lot of things going wrong there by comparison to their defence, which was so sharp. MNM, they might just sniff an opportunity here. How they got that round is going to be very promising for me.
I was really confused for a second. I was like, didn't MNM ban away the Ying? So Pawns have to run the thermite. It is the other way around. I think since the rehost, they've been put on the wrong teams. It was MNM that banned away the Ying and the Wamai, and MNM is the other side of things, Thatcher and Valkyrie by Pawns, just so you're aware. So yes, they are having to run something else instead because they want to run something like the Ying, can't. So their alternative is, okay, then we'll drop away a bunch of those ex-Kairos, we'll bring along the smokes instead, and they'll enable us to pull off the kind of executes we're looking for to block those sight lines. I think it's out of fear of a mirror, because that's what you saw coming out of MNM back in the first half, was they'd play Twitch, they'd smoke out the mirrors, and that would be their go-to push point. Pawns are going about it just slightly different way, using the thermite instead, but it's the same outcome at the end of the day.
Imagine just going to spray down the window into dorms there, maybe apply a little bit of pressure, create a little bit of fear at the potential of nades coming in, which he has a little think. He rips the pin, but he puts it back. He's just going to hold it in and wait for the second. Solotov, if that information comes in, he gets away with one there. The nade just doesn't go deep enough. If that nade just hits a little bit further, it's going to be a different ballgame. But one way or another, the wall gets opened, and a little bit of progress has been made by Pawns on the attack.
Slowly does it, slowly does it. It's always interesting when you see the differences in how things are set up as well, like a double reinforcement coming in onto the trophy wall. Makes it a little easier for the attackers to push through, but also makes it easier for the defenders to play inside of pit, and somewhat lessens the impact that holding that area has for the defenders. Getting themselves safely in here to not expose themselves onto the trophy door by knocking that wall off to the side instead. Likely getting rid of the Banshee that was on the other side of that wall now, so giving them a bit of a clearer angle on the run through. But MNM can just sit and wait here. Oh, and there comes the first push in. It's a mission on the window as well. That angle just not being respected.
That's exactly the right word there, Des, is respect for that angle, because Emission just taking full advantage of the risk that he takes by putting himself on there. There's always the challenge from the attic window if you don't have control of it, and Users tries to push forward to do something, but the kills are coming in, the cover is there, they've got every crossfire Scyther with a successful plant. Nello gets one, but he's going to need a few more. It's 2v4, Nello and Tyrant, and now is the time to make a move, because every second that ticks away is precious, because they are limited. They've got about 23 seconds left to do this and have time to disable that activated diffuser. Nello is just being careful, but as he peeks that angle, what a shot onto WTG. I thought he lost that every day of the week, but no, Nello managing to find his man. Tyrant going with him now. Nello shut down. It's all up to the last. This could be effectively a big game come the end of the stage, potentially even the end of the season, the whole year, because these two teams, as you can see from the top right of your screen, production do a wonderful job of keeping it updated, exactly what's happening in the league standings, if you were wondering.
It's painful, isn't it?
And we've got 10th playing 9th that then swap to 9th and 10th. It's, you know, they're fighting around each other, and they're potentially going to be fighting each other for relegations at the end of the stage, at the end of the season. There isn't a relegation at the end of the stage, but those spots at the bottom, effectively, that are going to lead you. You know, if you're there every time, they're going to lead you to that ultimate relegation at the end of the year. So these are two teams that could be challenging each other, and you could be looking back to games like this and saying, you know, those were the difference makers.
I remember talking to M&M's coach, Omerta, a few weeks ago, and I say it about a lot of teams when they first get, you know, they've reached the pinnacle of success, they've made it to Tier 1, fantastic, and I'm like, at every point, a team has got to lose. It's the same for G2 with their new lineup as well. Every team will lose, and a team isn't defined by the high moments when they're winning, when things are going well. They're defined when things aren't going so well and what they do to get themselves back on track. And in a way, stage 1 is the time that you want to, air quotes, be losing. You never want to be losing, but if you're going to have any stage where things go horribly wrong, you probably want it to be really early in the year when it's not that big a deal, when you've got time to course correct, when things can be amended, right? And I think at this point, yes, M&M definitely are struggling. I mean, you don't just find yourself in 10th place for no reason and a little bit of bad luck. It has been a number of poor performances back-to-back in a way. There's time for them to get those things correct. And for Pones, a team that many looked at and gone, you know, a team that has just found themselves with second place runners-up, almost world champions coming in, to making 4 massive roster changes. Everyone expects them to finish bottom of the table. To be where they are now, massive improvement.
Okay, M&M, talk to me about your electrical placements.
They can't talk to him, they're in-game.
That is what this one could be all about. We saw last time how frustrated they were on the attack, unable to open up that wall. Here, we see the electrical pinged out. It's going to be dealt with reasonably easily, I would expect, and the thermite charge is going to be applied and the wall opened, and that is a vast difference to what Pawns were able to do on the attack. Sorry, on the defence, Des.
Not there. Don't tell me they've got them with the same thing. Please don't tell me. Oh, it's there.
No, it's
you
there.
see
They can see it.
Yeah, I was about to say, just inside the floorboards. Finally gone away, and now they can get the wall open at that 90-second mark. So with it now being opened up, you enter that sort of next phase where Andreezy becomes the MVP, the most valuable player. If he gets these shields down in critical positions, he's going to be so crucial to how this round plays out. Looks like he's maybe taking a little bit out of Anaton's playbook here. One going up halfway up the stairs, and it's a classic bait and switch. Look at me. No, look at him off to the left, who's just taken your head clean off your shoulders. Still 2 shields left in pocket. One can go down the stairs and one can go down just inside of sight. You punch it, you block out the view. The defenders have no idea you're going in for a plant, and that's how things can step forwards from there. But Tyrant, a real sucker to the bait there.
And that gives Pawns a big advantage here. 5 versus 4, utility raining in. Lost the shield pushing forward, but Solotov, he manages to fight back, digs his heels in, finds one onto Scyther. 4v4, M&M not looking terrible now. They've got a nice even playing field here with 30 seconds left to go, and Pawns are going to have to make something happen. And Emission, he starts to do that. He finds one onto Solotov, but it's traded out as Neo gets the Nitro toss. 3v3, and every second that ticks by is a second's advantage for M&M, because it could be the clock that wins this one. Toxic Babe canisters just burning those precious grains of sand away, and we're going to see the shotgun, but no, Exodus, he manages to get the kill. 2v2, time is ticking down. WTG is able to start getting this diffuser down if they can defend this, if the cover is in place. It's not. Users gets his man, but this plant is successful. Surely not 1v1 if he finds this kill. WTG! The hero again gets the plant, failed cover, but still manages to close it out in a 1v2.
Two massive clutches from WTG today. Looking back earlier on in the game, that 1 versus 3 post-plant with a shotgun and just now winning it out. Plants it himself, steps up and gets a 2k. What a performance coming out from him and from Pones as well. 7-2ing MNM. That wasn't on many bingo cards today, Tim, I'll tell you.